Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of National Board Conversations. I'm your host, Edward Santiago. In honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, we're excited to spotlight the expertise of a remarkable Hispanic educator whose journey demonstrates the global respect for National Board certification.
Wherever you go, you just have to make sure that you always build relationship with your students and with your colleagues as well. And the second one would be to be able to foster what is an inclusive classroom environment.
Ricardo Calderon is a National Board certified teacher in world languages, has an extraordinary career spanning multiple countries and cultures, from teaching in rural North Carolina to New York City, Panama, Oman, and now Kuwait. Ricardo's story is truly inspiring. His passion for education and his contagious positivity make this conversation one you won't want to miss. Without further ado, here's my conversation with Ricardo. Ricardo, thank you for joining me on the podcast. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Doing well. So, you're coming from me from a different part of the country, from a different part of the world. Let me stop playing, a different part of the world. So we're going to get into it. Can you give us a brief intro of yourself and what's your current role in your current job?
Exactly. Yes. I'm actually a high school Spanish teacher, and let's see, I have like 23 years of teaching experience. Out of those, like 17 of those have been in international schools. My teaching journey has taken me all the way from North Carolina to Panama to the Sultanate of Oman in the Middle East. Then back to the US. I was in New York City for 2 years, and then I went off to Shanghai in China. And now I am based here in the state of Kuwait, also back in the Middle East, enriching my teaching practice and personal growth.
Man, that's insane. So how do you like it over there?
It's great. Well, it's completely different. It's different. It's different. I mean, I had lived in the Middle East before,
Mm.
but Kuwait is in a whole different scale, in a whole different category. Weather-wise, it's one. It could be one of the hottest places on earth, and so I have had to get used a little bit to the heat. But at least it's a dry heat. It's definitely not like no. There's not that much humidity. So it makes it a little bit bearable. But beyond that, it's a whole different lifestyle. People here are very sociable. So and in regards to leisure activities, they're not that many. But anytime there comes a little holiday, then I usually take off to go and explore the world.
Nice. So what are your three favorite foods?
Ooh, so let's see. The number one, I would say that it is ropa vieja. Is a
Oh, I love
traditional
that.
Panamanian dish. But for those of you who are not familiar with Panamanian food, I think the closest to it would be, or to be, the one from Cuba. Cuba also, they also made a lot of ropa vieja, which is just like shredded beef in this like nice tomato sauce. It's just delicious. Just brings me very vibrant. With all the ingredients, just always reminds me of home. The second one, I would say, is not especially a dish. It's just perhaps a side dish, but has to do with lentils. So anything made with lentils, just like I love lentils. Whether it's like a starter with lentil soup, there's some supermarkets you can go to and find like lentils that have been baked and seasoned, especially like in the Indian section. Um, but I love lentils in all its forms and ways. And the third one, I would say, like, especially being a Spanish teacher, I would from time to time take my students to a restaurant. The most likely will always be the opportunities I have are for Mexican restaurants, and that's usually where I go and meet friends as well. But anytime I have the opportunity, I will always go for tacos al pastor.
Oh, I love it.
Definitely, yeah, it just encapsulates that essence of Mexican cuisine, and but it's just my favorite. So those would be like my
Nice.
top, yeah, favorite foods.
So what are three songs that shaped you?
Ooh, um, for me, the first one would be the song "Patria," which means like it's about patriotism, and actually it comes from this Panamanian singer Ruben Blades. Um, He now lives in New York City, but it brings that essence of what country means to you. Like especially when you travel abroad, and especially at times when you might have Panama playing, whether it's at a football match or any other thing, any other activities. and you just hear that song, it just definitely takes you back to what exactly, memories from your country and things that you miss and all of that. A great memory that I have from this one is going to the World Cup when
Hmm.
they had it in Russia, and Panama was playing against England, and it's just like you just you're filled with emotions
Feel so
because you
proud, so
get
much
that sense
pride.
of, yes, exactly, your country pride and all of that. Beyond that, I also like Bonito. It's actually from Jarabe de Palo, this Spanish rock band, and the song goes like, Bonito, todo me
Mm.
parece bonito, which it just says like, beautiful. Everything seems to me beautiful, and it's a great way. I usually started listening to it like in my morning. It's like my
Mm.
little prep talk song.
Put you in a good mood, get you in the right mindset.
Exactly, exactly. Because the I think the main message within this song is that despite of the absurdities of life itself, you can always find good and beautiful things in what life brings you along.
No, that's right.
And then the other one, also, living in North Carolina for so long, I was especially in northeastern North Carolina in a small county called Gates County. Shout out to my friends out there. Um, so we used to hang out from on the weekends. We would end up at somebody's farm, having some pulled pork or just a gathering for XYZ reason. And of course, I got a lot into country music, and this one also connects with with a song from Rubén Blades, Patria. But this one is from Kenny Chesney, and the
Oh
song is
man.
like, "I Go Back." It's like because every time I hear that song, I go back. Brings that essence of of pride and memories from childhood and everything all in between. Those are my three songs that have shaped, continue to shape my life nowadays.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. All right. The one sports team that has your heart, and if you're not a sports fan, one movie you can recite line for line. Although you went to the World Cup, so I know
I
you
think
got a little bit of sports love in there.
exactly, definitely, definitely. Although I was there supporting my country and everything. Overall, I'm not that particularly devoted to any sports team per se. Um, but so I'll go with movies.
Okay.
And the one movie that definitely like resonates with me is that the pursuit of happiness. Again, it
Oh,
goes
I love
with
that
this
movie,
thing.
man.
Yes, that that inspiring movie that has that theme of perseverance and resilience, and I like that because when you get to travel, whether it's for tourism or you're moving abroad, you always reset that button and you start all over again. And you might face like in the new country you go to, you might face that things are completely different from what you're used to. It totally shatters your norm, and so, but it just gives you that idea that as long as you have a goal, also in life, you always go ahead with it. You just have to stick with it and persevere and keep going, and
Oh,
things might
that's right.
come true.
All right, so we're gonna get into your career a little bit. So, can you share why you became an educator and remained in education?
Yes, yes, yes. I think like my passion for education, or perhaps I would say what actually got me into education was that I have a younger brother that back when he was in elementary school, he was a little bit of a troublesome kid. He was very famous for getting in trouble with other students or even with teachers itself. And as the older brother, I ended up helping him or assisting him in different things, whether it was their homework or talking to him and so on and so forth. So because of that and the experiences I had with him, definitely shaped me and got me into pursuing a career as an educator. Why specifically like a language educator? Um, like I started somewhat at like an international school where English was the language of instruction, but of course, I spoke Spanish at home, and this just opened my passion for languages overall. Because I was able to meet teachers that came from different countries to our school, and per se, just language, being a language teacher has allowed me to connect to other people. And in regards to education, it just brings a lot of passion. I have that passionate to share, the products, perspectives of the Spanish-speaking world. And I have been able to remain in this field because I truly believe that it is a profession that is very transformative, and it definitely have a positive impact on student lives. I do stick to that saying that like the education is the one profession that creates other professions.
Yes, like no other profession is uh
As
possible
wholesome as
without going through learning something, right? And being taught how to do certain skills and learn certain
exactly.
things. So yeah, that's absolutely true. So you talked about it a little bit. You would take care of your
Younger.
brother and very supportive of him through school. Were you the
Yes.
same way as a student? And how did that influence your teaching style?
Yeah. In this case, no. Well, I was like the middle child, so I think I had an older brother. He was also troublesome. So I guess as being the second in line, you would see what he ended up going through, and you definitely learn your lesson from that. And that also helped me. Like, I want my younger brother to go through more or less the same experiences. So, and he was more open and receptive to that. But as a student myself, I would say that I was like that, the normal student. I was like a B student. I had my the subjects I liked, that I did excel in, which was like languages, history. I definitely had, like, for example, math. Perhaps was not one of my most like the best subject I
Yeah.
did well in, but definitely I was there with chemistry, biology. I love biology, but all of this comes to the teachers I had. The teachers that I had there did play a big influence on how I end up learning. I can definitely name like one of my math teachers. There was one year that I had this math teacher who, math was not my forte, but somehow that one year that I had this math teacher, Mr. Sanchez, he made it all make sense. The way he would, explain to us, scaffold like every part of the problems and everything. He just made everything so amazing. I was like, oh my God, everything makes sense. I could make the connections to every single thing. And that was a year that I fully excelled, like compared to my previous years taking math. It was the one year that I did like very, very, very well. But I don't know if I can say like he just made everything make sense. That I can do this. I know what are the steps that I need to follow, and so forth. But overall, I'm just an average student. Ups and downs. Well, I didn't get in trouble at all. But again, as I said, because I learned a lot from from all the things that my older brother was doing.
I love it, love it, love it. So now you're an educator, you're a classroom educator. What do you enjoy most about being an educator?
Uh-huh. Definitely beyond those aha moments. As a language facilitator, as a what we call, like, I would actually call myself like a language strategist. In my field, what brings me definitely joy, or what I find rewarding, is the connections I get to make with the students in class. Because I try to make, like, of course, at some point we have heard the comment like, when will I ever use this in real life? So I just bring, like, imagine yourself. I always make it like a situation where they actually have to use the language, and it just brings that how they might start asking questions, and they're involved and they participate, and all questions are good questions, and that has helped me provide to them the opportunity to see that you know that education itself is not just confined to the four walls or the brick and mortar setting that most schools have, but you definitely have to take it beyond the classroom, beyond the school setting, And when I make that happen, especially through PBL, I get to see that, you know, I get to see the reward and how confident my students definitely feel when I have been able to scaffold their language acquisition to the point that they have built confidence in themselves, that they feel that they can, say what they need to say and complete that task in a successful way.
Love it. And so now you're national board certified.
Yes,
What pushed you to pursue?
recertified as well.
So what pushed you to pursue, and what was your journey like? Did you achieve on your first attempt?
Yes, yes, yes. So I was a high school Spanish teacher in the northeastern North Carolina. And at that point, like for my students, I was perhaps like the only reference they had, like for a Hispanic or a Latino, outside of them, at times working or seeing migrant workers around.
Mm.
Um, and beyond that, they were like the students definitely related a lot with me, and I was able to build connections with them, and I saw that many of them like were in need of that those role models. And I started seeing like how is it that I can come and become a better educator, a better person for them. And a group of teachers of us, we decided to pursue national board at the same time. There were like five of us. It was myself, a biology teacher. We had like two math teachers as well, and an English teacher. And we would travel all the way from northeastern North Carolina all the way to Raleigh
Oh man.
to yeah to go for all this. The national board for North Carolina was offering special sessions to help teachers complete their national board, and but anyway, it got me into that. And yes, like through all the help that I received and the support from my team members and my communities as well, I was able to achieve on my first try. So that
So how?
also later on, yes, I achieved in 2008. And then back in 2018, I was in New York City, and I went ahead like I definitely want to continue. I truly believe in the process of how enriching it is, and I decided to renew my certification, and it got approved again. So I was like, yes.
So how did having that support system really help with you achieving?
Oh, greatly, greatly. Um, because for example, these sessions that we ended up attending in Raleigh, North Carolina. Um, they were basically like for coaching. They coach us through all the different components, and we actually met. They had like a sort of a mentor mentee session, so we could go to, and we had mentors that of former national board certified teachers or current certified teachers who came and they discussed the components in each of our own areas and fields. So we would also talk to each other, look for ideas, and I mean, I'm definitely there, definitely like 100% plus plus thankful to all that support that was definitely available, and that North Carolina make it available to those teachers wanting to pursue national board certification.
So how has achieving opened up new opportunities for leadership or mentorship within your schools or districts wherever you work?
Definitely, yes. Being national board certified and especially has had a big impact. Something that my administrators have been able to notice, because of course they would see that on your resume when you interview with them. And I've been lucky enough, like for example, when once I got certified, I went to, I had gone abroad to Oman, to the Sultan of Oman, to a school, actually international schools. Many international schools, American international schools, recognize national board certification, and they definitely want teachers who are national board certified. And for example, my administrators did put me in a role that they would listen to what I had to say. Like I was in the language program where I worked with teachers, French teachers and Arabic teachers, and I came in with my experiences, and they would listen to me. However, like in that one, we didn't truly have like a department head, but I was somewhat like the department head, although we didn't believe in having a department head because we all thought of collaborating and working. Later on in New York City, like I became a team leader for the 10th grade. So I was working there with a project that had to do more or less with homeroom and helping students develop like soft skills. Um, and then at a different other school, I was also chosen to pursue. This was at an IB school, and at this IB school, I was also a little bit on middle management to the point that I was working with extended essay for those that have any knowledge in the IB world. And so definitely, yeah. So those are the like I made it definitely into middle management. I'm still thinking about like I had like one former principal tell me going into the dark side of being an administrator, but that is still that's still in the works. But
Okay,
that might be my next big step
we like it. We hope you continue to be national board certified as an administrator if you decide to take that route.
for sure.
Your experience ranges from AP Spanish to you touched on the IB students. How do you
Yes.
balance the demands of a rigorous curriculum while making language learning meaningful and engaging?
Well, the good thing is that both the AP, the framework for AP and IB are somewhat connected and very more or less similar because you work with topics and like a thematic units and the concept. You know, it's conceptual learning what you actually go into. Um, so I've been able to use that knowledge I have had to actually make it all connected to PBLL. So it's project-based language learning, something that I was trained in by the National Foreign Language Resource Center at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. I shout out to them. You know, they were able to, like a group of us of language teachers, we took first like an online course and then we went offline, we like in situ in Hawaii, and where we learned how to work with PBL, but in this case it was project-based language learning (PBLL). And what does that does is actually brings real world problems out there to the classroom where you can actually work more on like how can we help or how can we support uh, let's see, we were one. I work in a project with students. Like we were looking at how to create some what was it? Reading materials for elementary school, like in less fortunate areas of Costa Rica at that point. And students were able. We did like literacy workshops with some of the elementary school teachers that helped. So you somewhat work with is uh, interdisciplinary teaching because you create units with all other teachers. So it's very broad. You know, you get to see students get to see that a class itself is not just an island. You know, you get to collaborate with teachers from other fields, and you get to see that everything is connected. Not just like math is by itself, biology is by itself, language is by itself. No, everything is connected. You can use everything connected to perhaps help solve a problem or look for solutions to any problems that are out there.
That's really really cool. So your teaching career has quite literally taken you all over the world.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
you're in the Middle East now. You've done work in Panama and here in the States too. How do the different teaching environments remain constant across different countries?
Uh, yes, in regards to that, I can say that the teaching environments definitely do differ significantly across different regions, especially in terms of resources, student demographics, and cultural expectations. But perhaps the two elements that are very universal is that wherever you go, you just have to make sure that you always build relationship with your students and with your colleagues as well. And the second one would be to be able to foster what is an inclusive classroom environment. And especially nowadays, I'm noticing that students are they're definitely looking to making connections with what they with the teacher. It's quite interesting, like how they end up liking a subject. Uh, Mostly is because how the teacher is able to manage the environment in the classroom and the learning expectations, but as well as the learning opportunities. So those are the two main constants. Beyond that, wherever you get to travel, like for example, being here in the Middle East, you have to make sure that you are culturally sensitive to the local culture. Whether it has to be the way you dress, the topics that are somewhat taboo, or some things you might not have to mention, perhaps here in the Middle East or even in China. When I was in China, there were some topics you cannot mention, or they prefer you would not mention at all. Uh, but it helps you grow, because I truly believe that, especially being a language educator, um, we do have to invest in what is interculturality, in the sense that we should focus more on seeing how we are all similar in different ways, in the ways we eat, we act, the things we see, the way we look at things, rather than looking at differences, what makes us different. Because I believe that, once we start looking at that way of what makes us different, it brings you more or less into that power dynamic of, like, A is better than B, or that B is better than A, and so on and so forth. So I truly believe that we do have to concentrate and look forward to seeing the world as, what makes us unique, but also what makes us be together. How are we similar in many things? Because little by little, you get to find out that perhaps you might have a dish in your own country that there's another variety, or somewhat similar in a different culture, or a practice, perhaps the way that people look at the elder, or the way they strongly support children or women. It varies, and you say all of them are somewhat the same.
That's very strong words. All right, we're gonna get into the teacher recruitment part of the podcast now. We wrapping up
Yes.
soon. So, if you had to sell the education profession to someone looking to jump into it in 1 to 2 minutes, what would you use as your elevator pitch?
Ooh. My 2 minute elevator pitch.
Yeah.
So I would say, like, if you're looking for a career that makes a profound impact on individuals and communities, and that will allow you to grow both personally and professionally every day, every day, definitely consider becoming an educator, because you definitely get to inspire all these future generations. And, going back to what I said, it's definitely the profession that creates other professions. You be that person, foster critical thinking, and be part of something that is truly, truly transformative.
All right. And now, Ricardo, it's time for you to shoulder tap a colleague and let them know they're ready to become national board certified. On here, you're gonna give them a quick shout out and let them know it's your time. So, Ricardo, who are you shoulder tapping today?
Ooh, okay, so I would like to shoulder tap my colleague, Colin Baxter. He's actually a history teacher. He's like fully dedicated. He's doing what it takes. This is sectional dedication to making the best of his students, of his class, of his curriculum. And, he's definitely always working to improve his skills and take them to the next level. So, Colin, I truly believe that you're ready to go ahead and pursue national board certification. You definitely have what it takes. So definitely go for it. And if I can add somebody else, I definitely will go also with the Penleys. It's a it's a traveling also couple from Chicago. One is a math middle school teacher, and his wife is a math teacher who she actually went from being coming. She came out of the teaching profession, but she's not a teacher. She loves it. Both of them are also well dedicated, and they're also in school. They're part of learning communities, and they're always offering opportunities for people to grow. So also, I'll give them a shout out there. You know, Come and talk to me, or I will actually approach them to personally tell them, you should go and pursue national board certification.
Yes, we'll give you informational packs and everything. All right, y'all. You up next. It's time to get national board certified. Ricardo, thank you for joining me on the podcast.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of National Board Conversations. I hope you found Ricardo's journey as inspiring as I did. His story is a powerful reminder of how education transcends borders and how National Board Certified Teachers' impact reaches classrooms worldwide. If you enjoyed this conversation, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your colleagues and friends. Let's continue celebrating the incredible work of educators like Ricardo and keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay inspired, keep striving for excellence in education. Thank you for listening, and see you in the next episode.